Let's start from Alistair Wilcox. He's a chartered accountant. He's a policy analyst. Once again, welcome, Alistair.
Thank you very much, Yuri.
And then right next to him, the dapper gentleman is Idowu Ajanaku. Idowu Ajanaku is, of course, he's a journalist. But then again, even journalists have their sort of leaning. So there's a sense in which, let me refer to him as a journalist with progressive leanings. Thank you very much for coming on,
Idowu.
Idowu.
Very correct.
Yes, and next I'm bringing in Darlington Gomuo. Yes. Darlington is a columnist. He's also a public affairs analyst. Okay, Darlington is a journalist with conservative leanings. So that way we sort of have it, as balanced as we can possibly get it. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Never mind the journalists with conservative leanings, never mind the journalists with progressive leanings. Let me start with Alistair. As far as I just put you down as a chartered accountant and policy analyst.
I'm a journalist. I just look at it from a general perspective, not in journalistic eyes.
Now let's kick the ball rolling. Of course, additional facts. First of all, it's just like soccer, like football in Nigeria, where everybody is an expert coach. And there's a sense in which we've been that way in relation to Ekiti, what has happened in Ekiti. Of course, the progressive APC lost out in that election. They didn't just lose out by the skin of their teeth. It was a tsunami, as was called, suggesting that APC has got it horribly wrong. And if they're going to not suffer a similar fate, they need to be fixing things. Now, we asked the question at the time, who won the election? Was it Fayose who won the election or PDP? The other question that we didn't ask, at least not as hard enough, is who lost the election in Ekiti? Was it Fayemi or was it APC? Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's quite that's quite boxing me journalistically. Boxing it journalistically.
Because we've heard, as you know, that it didn't matter where Fayose came from, he was going to win that election. Yeah, so we've heard that kind of a thing.
No, that would have been wrong to have made that assertion, that no matter where he came from. And let's not forget, in 2011, this same Fayose contested the senatorial election in Ekiti, in the same Ekiti. And he lost.
Okay.
He came in distant third.
Okay.
So it doesn't. It's not as if it doesn't matter where he comes from. Platform is very, very important. And Okpeyemi, who won election under AC and then, who has a rep election, couldn't also win his local government in this last election, and he was declared as a governorship candidate. So platform is very, very important.
Okay.
And then considering the fact that right from independence, well, I wasn't born at independence and I didn't know, but from history, I knew that the Southwest has always been the battlefield. If there's anywhere where there is real resemblance of good election, context is in the Southwest.
Okay.
You forget it, that whatever happens in the South, in the Southeast, like a bandwagon effect. You know where they are going, and of course everybody, there's no dissenting view. But the Southwest seems to be the battleground where the progressive and the conservative must want to have a leeway. I mean, the facts are not far-fetched. The fact is that this seems to be the both economic and political bedrock of the country. So whoever holds here seems to have it, no matter who holds the seat of government, whoever holds this side of the government seems to have it. Now, back to your question. I was here in the studio when this election was going on, and it was rather, why this hallo-ballo comes is because that people never expected what happened, the magnitude of which has happened, because predominantly the Southwest, we know, is a conservative area. Right from the time of Action Congress and all that, it's always been a conservative, a progressive area. So people have expected that with what happened, with the kind of governance, so to say, that Fayemi brought to Ekiti, and with the kind of character, the characteristics for the person of Fayose, who in his first missionary journey in Ekiti as governor was not really palatable. And Ekiti being a state that was called a fountain of knowledge, that people expect that this is a state that will have gone above board in terms of responsibility, in terms of good governance, in terms of identifying persons of character, of impeccable character that should lead them. Now, so people expect that, well, a Fayemi and a Fayoshe cannot come and match in that pedestrian.
Okay.
So therefore, there was supposed to be some kind of contest, but at the end of the pundits would have expected that, look, with the person of Fayoshe and the person of Fayemi, and with the performances of Fayemi in government in the last 3.5 years, that of course he will not have an easy ride. He will coast home, but not easily. Okay. But when the result came out, it was a total tsunaami.
It was a wipeout.
Okay. Now put every pundit, destroy all the manipulation.
Thank you very much. Now, yes. I'm going to come back to you. Now, Idowu, I don't know how you see it. APC got its sums entirely wrong. It painfully must admit now. Because at the end of the day, you always hear politics is all about numbers and politics is all about knowing your electorate. Is there a sense in which either APC or Dr. Fayemi, the incumbent governor, just did not know their public at all?
Thank you very much. Let me say this very quickly, that if you know the underground bellies that led to the election, you will not jump to the conclusion that the pundits or the political analysts just got the whole thing wrong. Maybe because you don't know the nitty-gritty of the offers. Let me say this very quickly, that Dr. Fayemi ran one of the most interesting governments in Ekiti.
Okay.
But the first one remained that Dr. Fayemi also did not pay attention to the local dynamics of politics of Ekiti State.
And so that was a mistake.
Yes.
It was a mistake also of the APC in fielding him. They didn't check out that the man that was going to be presented would know the lie of the ground.
No, that's not what I'm saying. You know, ACN as a political party has its own agenda, a manifesto that you subscribe to when you are campaigning. But what I mean by that Dr. Fayemi did not pay attention to the local dynamics in Ekiti. Look, there are certain policies that you can implement in Lagos that you can never touch in Ekiti State.
Okay.
And I'll give an example. In Lagos, perhaps, maybe in Ikorodu, maybe in Alimosho, you are looking for super highways, because majority of those people who are living in those areas have cars to run on those highways. And the people like Ilumeje or Ekiti, they don't need a super highway. Maybe perhaps what they need is just this monopump that I want to provide water for them. So what I'm saying now in essence is that in as much as Dr. Fayemi wanted to turn Ekiti into a small London, he seemed to have forgotten to pay attention to some locals in the place. Let me also put that one aside.
Okay.
Let me also tell you very quickly that where APC have been doing a reappraisal of what happened in Ekiti, and I can tell you categorically that from the thinking in Ekiti State, they didn't vote for against APC. I can tell that one categorically to you.
Okay.
They voted against Dr. Fayemi, and I'll give you two examples.
Okay, two examples. Yes,
quickly to justify that. One, the teacher's attitude test that was conducted in Ekiti State. I can assure you that the party, I know at a particular time, the party was completely against it, and it was discussed. But the fact remains that Dr. Fayemi symbolizes the symbol of governance in Ekiti State. If he's convinced that this is the best as a reform, because you would have liked it that Dr. Fayemi is a reformist. At that time, he went ahead with it. But just like I said, in Ekiti State, it's a predominantly civil servant state. The greatest industry in Ekiti is education. So the fact remains that so if you now decided to do a conduct test, and the teacher came out heavily that they don't want it, and you went ahead with it, you have to live to pay with the consequences as an individual who initiated that, because that thing was not part of the manifesto of APC.
Okay, and these are just two examples.
No, the last one. Let me give you the last one. The last one is the issue of education school fees in Ekiti, in the State University in Ekiti. Look, I may not particularly put the blame at the doorstep of Dr. Fayemi, but I also put the blame at the local warlords that he surrounded himself with in governance. Even if you introduce a school fees in a school, even in Europe, in America, people, if they introduce school fees, you don't stop people from writing the examination. You can write your examination. The only thing that is certificate will not be given to you until paid. But the local authority, the local the institution in Ekiti State University, they introduced no school fees, no examination. I got into what I'm making. So no school fees, no examination. So for me, as an individual, that was not part of APC manifesto. The government, symbolized by Dr. Khalid Fahimi, initiated that.
So really, any way you look at it, the administration of Dr. Fahimi has to take responsibility for not really being able to, one, feel, and two, read the pulse of the people of Ekiti.
Let me tell you that one. In fairness to Dr. Fahimi, he did.
He did?
Yes, he took that responsibility. So, but the fact remains that, look, you can also give it to him because the man feels that I'm not desperate to remain in power.
Yeah.
I believe in this ideology. I believe in this reform. That it may not be beneficial to me now, but in the long run, the people of Ekiti State will benefit from it.
Okay, Darlington, to come to you, you've heard the conversation so far. There's also the other matter that has come up since this has happened, especially people from the progressive side of the analysts, commentators, journalists, saying things like, well, Ekiti people have made this choice. They've made a choice for what has been referred to as a stomach infrastructure, and they say this a bit derisively. So they're going to have to live with it. What do you think? Do you think it's as simplistic? By the way, I've also read commentators from the conservative side saying that this is a bit insulting to the people of Ekiti because it suggests that the people of Ekiti do not understand what's going on. All they understand is just a stomach, and if anybody appeals to the stomach, he's going to win. They say this is a bit, desultory.
Now, my take on this thing is I think there were mistakes on both sides, both on the governor and the party. They underrated...
Were there mistakes on the side of the conservatives, or because they have won the elections by landslide, I guess you people are feeling... Well, not you people. No. They are feeling quite on top of the world.
No, not that. The thing is that there are things that were supposed to be done, which was not done. And
by both, you think?
Yes, by both sides.
In Ekiti and also the governor?
Yeah, the party and the governor.
Okay.
Now, I want to take a cue from what... because Bamidele has been granting an interview, and he has been, saying his own side of the story and all that. They underrated Fayose in several ways. One, you remember in 2011 when Fayose came in, there was no water in Ekiti. As clever as Fayose was, then, he quickly loaded the tankers with water and was dropping this water in front of the people's houses. That was what gave him his first coming as a governor. And many years after, I expected the governor to block that way. We have 4 dams in Ekiti. The Itakpaji Dam and one other one at Ire and 2 other ones. The one they inherited from Ondo. I expected the governor to have at least done something with 2 of the dams and provide water for Ekiti, knowing fully well that was where Fayose capitalized, that gave him votes. Nobody talked about those 4 dams are moribund, as I'm talking to you. Then 2, you are talking of infrastructure, and this is important. There is nothing wrong in providing infrastructure. The problem is how and where and when. What do I mean? The $18 billion that was spent on infrastructure, according to him, most of this money went outside the state. The contractor is outside Ekiti. The materials outside Ekiti, the artisans outside Ekiti. And when you have done all this...
Allegedly or for a fact?
It is a fact.
Okay.
It is a fact.
Never mind allegedly.
Yes, it is a fact. It is a fact. And when these things were going on, I expected somebody to have said, look, these people, we need them in our next decision. Then 3, the problem between Fayose and, Fayemi and Bamidele, which was never resolved until the election. It was wrong.
And also the leaders probably worked against.
Yes, the leaders of the party came together severally to reconcile them. But Governor Fayemi, how could you sack the World Exco? Because you are looking at the second term, so that your people will be there to vote you in when you call them. It was never done. They asked him severally, reinstate these people. He refused. So whenever they call ward election, the ones for Fayemi will be holding their meeting. The one for Bamidele will be, and the one for Bamidele were in greater in number. That was why after the election, Fayose had to come and say he thanked God for bringing Bamidele to help him become the governor, because Bamidele divided his votes. They were the same party. Remember, Bamidele was not he did not have any party for 3 months while he was in the house. He was running around. Hold on, Mr. Yori. Now, after all these issues, there are things I expected them to have done. The issue of what do you call it, school, which he mentioned, is very vital to Ekiti people. At just 2.5 million people, Ekiti can be managed even by an intelligent university graduate who just left school. He can manage Ekiti. But the thing is that Fayemi was, I mean, when he got into it, he started, behaving above, the people. He took advantage of the people's loyalty. And they said, okay, remember the test that was going on during the election. Okay, what does that mean? They say he was building house in the air. They will shoot it down. You got this is coming. Okay. Are you going to say? So all these points are things I expected them. How can you be owing teachers only for you to remember that they will be paid 27% one month to election? And you were buying cars for the traditional rulers. Are the traditional rulers going to vote for you? Exactly. You were giving 5,000 to elderly. Are the elderly going to vote for you? So you were giving
the key component was the youth.
Yes.
And for some reason,
he had elected himself. He had elected himself.
Now this point of thank you very much, Darlington. Let me come back to you, Lester, and we'll bring it back again. This whole question of alienation. You're not in there, but we've read all the commentaries since. There are people who actually know this maybe firsthand, whether it is true, whether it is not true, whether it is exaggerated, even if it is true. But there also was the submission that contrary to what people might have felt about the Fayemi administration, it wasn't really, his cabinet wasn't really representative of perhaps the aspirations of the people of Ekiti. It was seen, and this information only came out in the aftermath of the quote-unquote tsunami, that people, it did not go down, as it were, and it wasn't used as a point of connection. Much has been made of Yemi Adaramodu, Fayemi's chief of staff, how he, in no small measure, allegedly contributed to this fiasco by helping to further alienate. I said further alienate because it's not as if he did it all. There has also been this allegation that the former governor of the place had quite a number of relatives in there. And it goes on and on. So we're beginning to get a picture of what exactly went wrong in there. What do you think about this particular aspect of it? Yeah,
that shows that you see, that shows that our politics has not gone beyond personality. Yes, we have not institutionalized things. If I may digress, if you see outside this country in other climes, the moment a president or a governor or somebody finishes his term, he takes a back seat and allow whoever that is on the show to run. He might just be there as an advisory, just like President Bill Clinton is doing, has been doing all along. I don't even know the Bushes, if they are anywhere close to any of the government, So, but because maybe Clinton still like politics. Now, back to what you said. It was obviously clear that there was some form of disconnect. And I don't think the Ekiti people, I have my grudge against the Ekiti people over what has happened and over some other issues. But it don't take it out of them, the fact that they're intelligent people. Both the illiterate person in the village.
So-called?
Yes.
Because they can't read? Yes. That doesn't mean he's not intelligent. And then at the end of the day, one so-called illiterate vote is equal to one professor's vote.
Because the professor doesn't vote. 100 professors
That is even when the professor comes out to vote.
100 professors vote.
So you better understand the people that you're dealing with.
So now, if when during the struggle for the absolution of Fayemi's mandate, that took about 3.5 years, it's called that the Ekiti people knew very well that they never voted for Shegoni, and so most of them were ready to defend who they voted for. So that's why I said it's a progressive state, because they know who they voted for. During that 3.5 years, they stood by him at every level. Jidawe, the chairman, you see him looking.
So sorry to interrupt, but all of that being what it is, these same people who you say knew who they voted for and defended that vote, now voted this man out of office.
Exactly, because of the so-called lack of real connection. Now, if he's felt he's in intellectual class, and so he wants to do things intellectually, thinking that everybody in his state, erroneously being called a fountain of knowledge and being called in the academic state, so to say, will understand what he is doing and the direction he is going. And then those other people who are the real grand politicians now exploit the situation. People like the Ajanaku you are talking about, they now exploit the situation. And then the influence of the former governor, Idowu, who, as far as I'm concerned, I must say it here, it's not an electoral asset. You know, people should know who is an electoral asset at every point in time. There are so many, we so much depend on names that are of no value. Shegun is not an electoral asset. I mean, at the time, Shegun, in fact, the camp to APC, and he was given the vice national chairmanship of the under concession. He's not an electoral asset. People should know who an electoral asset is. Bamidele is a better electoral asset that could have been managed.
Yes.
That could have been managed. Because, well,
do you think, therefore, that perhaps, and I want you to answer this as briefly as you can, that perhaps even the APC itself might have inadvertently taken all of Ekiti for granted?
They did.
Based on this whole historical perception of it being a progressive state.
Yes, they did do that. Very, very unfortunately. And if you see, even the campaigns, I was ashamed of some of the campaign lines.
Okay, well, it's enough. It's all done now. So it's all.
So they took them for right. Now is back. They paid for it.
Okay.
They paid for it.
Now, Idowu, as you know, the PDP, the Conservatives who have won here, but who still are smarting from having been routed from other states, are now saying that, well, this is the beginning of better things to come. They think they've got the formula. The next battlefront, electoral battlefront, is Osun. And riding on the crest of this, how is Osun different from Ekiti? And how is it that what happened here cannot happen in Ekiti? Bearing in mind that the PDP is not going to be standing still.
No. Well, before I answer that question, let me quickly, so that we can enlighten those who are listening to us.
Okay.
You see, unless, because this thing that happened in Ekiti should supposed to be a lesson of history for people to learn. You know, and that's why I kept on saying it, that men do not learn from history. History does not change. It is men that are failed to learn from history over the years. Yeah. I'm being sincere to you. Look, it was mentioning about Ajanaku. I, Idowu Ajanaku, personally made a trip to Ekiti more than 6 times, and I met Ajanaku myself because of the cacophonies of complaints that people were making, and we were worried and we were concerned. And the first thing that Abba shot back at me that, look, I'm not a member of any political party. I'm not a member of APC. I'm Fayemi.
Everybody said that.
Yes. Okay. I'm saying it on here.
And this is the man's chief of staff.
Yes.
The man through, if you're going to see the governor, that is the man who is going to facilitate.
Yes, and I was shocked. Because this is the same Ajanaku that was using AC, he was the publicity secretary of AC in Ekiti State, that used that party to promote himself. It's also interesting to know that even the national leader, one of the national leaders, I will not mention his name, sent for the same Ajanaku to come. In aftermath of the complaints, not from the public, from the members of the party, the locals, so that we can find a way of resolving the matter. He sent the person back to the national leader that he should route his invitation to the governor's office. It's as bad as that. So I'm just trying to give you all these things. And this thing that I'm saying, the chief press secretary to Dr. Fayemi, who is still in office now, wrote all those things that I just mentioned to you. So I've given you this background to juxtapose what to have in Osun.
So in effect, what you're saying, Idowu, I beg your pardon, what you're saying, Idowu, is that actually, internally, APC had fallen apart, but it wasn't commonly known.
Look, not that people know about this story that I'm talking about. You know, yes, he said much about all those things, which are facts and figures of ground. And let me now take it to Osun. Look, after Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, in terms of political strategies, the next person you can vouch yourself for is Ralph Aregbesola. Aregbesola is not only a political strategist, but it's a grassrooter. and he knows what he's doing. That is why, go to Ekiti, even before the election, you hardly see Dr. Fayemi's billboard in Ekiti State. In Osun, as I'm talking to you now, you have Aregbesol's billboard more than 2,000, and I can tell you categorically that Aregbesola did not put one of his penny into all those billboards. Who did it? So I leave that to you. So what I'm saying is that
there's a much stronger connection
yes,
with the people, is what you are saying.
Yes, and let's also tell you that when you consider the candidate of PDP in Ekiti, Ayodele, like he said, who seems to know the organogram, political organogram of Ekiti State. Yes, I'm telling you.
That's realistic.
He has a complete X-ray.
Yes,
so he's able to see
the political organogram of that state, and his pedigree was a former governor of that state. And you don't forget that when the APC family was run, it was solidly behind Fayemi.
Yeah, that's right.
I can give that to you.
Yes. Compared
to the candidature of APDP in Osun State, Iyola Omisore, you know his antecedents. You know his antecedents. He has never been governor of that state before. He was the deputy governor.
He was the deputy governor.
You know what happened.
And a senator.
Yes, senator. You know this thing. So we are talking about a man in Osun who is not only doing the job, but is practically connected to the grassroots in the state. But nevertheless, that does not mean that he doesn't have
work to do
and his own shortcomings. Two major shortcomings that I will give, because it is good for us to say all this so that
because this is a time of soul searching.
Yes, to learn. The issue of religion and the issue of school reclassification that has gone on.
Those are things he has to watch out for.
Watch out for. But you see, Aregbesola that I know will not do anything, whether religion or anything, to hurt anybody. He does things from the heart. That's Aregbesola, and the people of Osun, they know about that.
Okay. Now, Darlington, I'm going
to
come back to you.
Let me just summarize to tell you that what happened in Ekiti State is a political isolation to what will happen in the Southwest.
Okay, you see it as an isolated case, and that everybody is going to be learning from it, and therefore, speaking from your own conservative leanings, you don't think the conservatives are going to be able to benefit from it. That's what you're saying.
Let me tell you, sir. Let me tell you very quickly that you see, there are certain things that we know that we cannot say on here.
Exactly.
I'm loaded with information.
Okay. I'll do my best to pry some of it out of you. So that's my job. It's your job to try and withhold it. It's my job to try and see as much as I can get out of it. But Darlington, he brought up, because really we need to, and I think APC has said that as a corporate body that, look, that's behind us, we're now looking forward. They have to say that kind of a thing. But Senator Iyola Omisore, the candidate of the PDP in the upcoming election, what do you think? He no doubt will be feeling confident. You have heard, everybody has heard the PDP say that is the next conquest we are going to make. We have this winning formula. The APC is in disarray. Do you think that's being a bit overconfident and simplistic on the part of the Conservatives?
I think the PDP as a party, it's not as if that they are overconfident. It's just that I think you can criticize PDP, you can call them names, but one thing I know for sure is that under President Jonathan, PDP, they are not stupid. They have these big ears and they keep it close to the ground. That they brought out Fayose to contest in Ekiti is not by mistake.
Even though there were misgivings when they were making that choice.
Yes.
So much so that the chairman of PDP is reported to have said in the aftermath of the election with the president that, well, I'm happy that I was justified because they were fighting me when I was supporting the candidature of Fayose.
That's what I'm saying. You see, there is one mistake leaders make. There is one small book written by Niccolo Machiavelli, The Prince. There is no human being, no leader, no father in the house, no governor or president that can succeed if you don't read that book. What is the book? The summary of that book is what?
The Prince.
the end justifies the means.
Yes, that's the most the most popular, you know.
There is no other way. The end justifies. That is. Hold on now. Hold on. Everybody does it. America does it.
It's a very, very difficult.
UK does it.
It's a very difficult moralistic line.
As difficult as it is.
It's dangerous. In fact.
Exactly. As difficult as it is, the world we are living in is not even easy.
It's a dangerous life.
How did America went to invade Pakistan to take out Osama? Even when they didn't bother with the international law. They went there to yes. Yeah. So for a good purpose, you can employ every means to achieve it.
And that's what politics is all about.
That is it.
They made a mistake. The dark underbelly of politics.
Yes, that is what is going on. So when they choose Fayose, in spite of some of the baggages on him, I did other people had it. So it's not. And even Omishora in Osun State now, he equally have some.
He has his own baggage.
He has the sword of Damocles hanging over his head, but it does not matter. What I'm saying in essence is that if the state is doing well, you know, you are a sitting governor, you should know the people. You should know where the opponent is going to hit you. You go there and block it. That is what politics is all about.
Yeah, but Darlington, while you're at it, how about morals? Because it's interesting you brought up, you know, Machiavelli and the line about the end justifies the means.
Yes.
Oftentimes, all sorts of horrors and illegalities are perpetuated under that particular caption.
Exactly.
And doesn't that matter any?
No, it does not really matter as long as we see we are. Look, let me tell you.
As long as we're thinking about the numbers.
Mr. Yori, don't just look at it from Nigerian aspect. Look at it globally. The so-called people who gave us this democracy, what is their attitude? How do they relate with you as a third world country? I mean, you just look at this thing as if it's a Nigerian thing. I've been reading one Jacob. Whom they put this harassment device inside his body. The guy has been going around telling the whole world. When you hear that guy's story, you wonder, can Nigeria do such a thing to an American citizen without the U.S. giving order? This thing happens, but let us bring it down. What I'm saying is that in our local politics, there are things that you should not do. Don't take the people for granted because they have elected you. Our politicians are fond of that. Now, let us tell a spade. Now, hold on. In Osun State now, the same mistake that was made in Ekiti is rearing its ugly head in Osun. The teachers in Ekiti, whom they are owing now for 5 months, it was just last month.
No.
In Osun?
No. Let me.
Are you going to say?
No, let me clarify that for the benefit of people. If I did no teacher.
Hold on. I'm not talking of Femina. We're talking of Osun.
No, it didn't hold. It didn't hold. So that for the benefit of the people, let me clarify that.
Just very briefly. Very briefly. I will do that to him.
In Ekiti, Femi reduced the allowances of teachers from 27% to 16%. When Bamidele and Fayose promised them that money will be paid, Femi came back 2 weeks to the election and paid 27%. So it's not
what I'm saying is that hold on. In fact, he even brought up issues. This thing was dragging on for a long time. Until 2013, he left it hanging. Until 2 weeks to election. Why must you have paid 2 weeks to election?
That's what I'm saying.
That was why they say, okay, so you think you have sense, Abi? We'll teach you how to do this thing. So what I'm saying is that in Osun State, the same thing is going on now. You and I know that some teachers are being owed in Osun State. True or false? True.
It's not
why?
True.
Hold on now. Why? You see,
you don't have your turn.
Yeah,
you can debunk it when it comes to you.
What I'm not saying is that those areas that you know, because these states that we are talking about, they are mainly civil service state and agricultural state. These are the mainstay. It's not an industrialized city. So there are things you don't do. Even if you want to industrialize or modernize the state, it should be gradual.
Okay, I hear you.
Don't just hit it.
I'm going to come back to you.
Omishora has his own ways. Yes. He has his own. There is something. In fact, I don't want to say it here. I know his own strategy. I know what Omishora is going to do. Even all this one that they are saying that billboard all over the place, it may not work out at the end of the day.
Okay, I'm going to come back to you. Alester, clearly Dr. Fayemi was and is passionate about governance, but perhaps he dropped the ball when it came to the matter of politics. maybe, you know, that's an arguable position. Passionate about governance, was busy doing it, but the political aspect, this whole matter about alienation, this whole matter about people saying that, well, never mind whatever anybody thought, it is only you and your people that are enjoying, and nobody else is enjoying anything. The people of Ekiti have been derided by the voters. Have been derided by political commentators of the conservative, I mean of the progressive bent, that it's okay. If, in fact, even Fayemi himself in his acceptance speech, which is another issue, I'm not too sure whether that was a party position or whether, quite frankly, it was a coup that the party now had to follow willy-nilly because it had been said. He was saying that, well, if this is indeed the choice of the people of Ekiti, so be it. I congratulate you. He didn't this whole matter about the extent to which politics should be paid attention to, when a man like Kayode Fayemi wanted to really concentrate on governance that was going to serve them for many, many years in the future, and then throwing in what Darlington has just said about Machiavelli's "the end justifies the means." You can see that we got into murky waters here.
We are in deep trouble.
We got into very murky waters here. Because it's only results that count.
I feel very bad when we educated and intellectual and public opinion molders, I'm not criticizing what my brother is saying, but begin to justify such ridiculous and unfortunate quotes.
When you call it ridiculous and unfortunate, it's life.
Yes,
it's life.
Everybody's applying it. Everybody's applying it.
The end justifying the means. I think it is, for me, it is crude, it is shrewd, it is not something that we should pass on to generations.
But because also others, real among leaders.
Yes, if others have...
because I don't know that statement was meant for ordinary people.
No. Look, you see, in every sphere, even in the Western world that we always quote, they do things with high degree of responsibility.
Most of the time.
That is what you think. That is what you think.
Not all the time.
That's what you think. They knew what does that mean?
That shall not be caught.
Yes.
Don't commit the 11th commandment. That is the law there. Good. But in Nigeria, you commit the 11th commandment with impunity, with brazen aggrandizement, and it is that nothing will happen because the end justifies the means. Now go back. Now let's go back.
There's a sense in which we're more sincere. Yes. I mean, there's a sense in which we are more sincere.
No, we're not sincere because
we're much more sincere. If it is, do not be caught over there, and if it is here that let them catch us, the end justifies the means.
Caught, you go in for it. Your generation goes in for it.
Okay.
That's different, and that is where responsibility comes to play.
Okay.
Not that they don't do shady deals.
But let's not stray too far from the political discussion.
Back to what I said. That is why I said I have an issue with. I respect the Ekiti people for their political maturity in saying we know what we want. Now, the second part of it being the fact that we know what transferred during the election. Brazen open display of sharing of rice, sharing of money.
Yes.
And that now induced the voters. Because if we're saying, because fire shall give them water, there's nothing wrong with giving them people water. So water makes to vote for somebody for a 4-year program that you don't know what else that will follow. If you say if you give them a bag of rice, your vote is now worth a bag of rice or a 10 kg of rice, that will now make you to mortgage your future for the next 4 years, which some other person is telling you, look, I won't give you rice, but I will create the environment so that you can be able to have rice all through my 4 years. I won't give you a peanut. I won't give you handouts, but I will make sure that if you follow my path, your children, your generation will have enough to eat for the next rest of your life.
Alester, which is excellent in the classroom. Yes, excellent in the political science class. Yes. But on the grounds, it doesn't work. And the politician who doesn't pay attention to the fact that it doesn't work on the ground,
that's the problem. And that's where I have the problem. Now, so let me just make me this.
Please.
See, so for me, really, it's a puzzle. That we all need to find a way to resolve.
Okay.
Now, is it through education? Is it true that we must follow that the end justify the means and we'll begin?
Or is it through understanding the people that we intend to govern over?
You need to understand the people. You need to get the people along.
Yes.
A leader is the one that inspires.
I'm going to come back to you.
And bring the people
to standard.
Don't let us begrudge these things. I don't want to agree with him certain things that he said, that the Ekiti people. Look, I'm an Ondo man. And you remember that the Ekiti state was created from Ondo.
That's right.
Let me tell you frankly, even in the Southwest, which is the most sophisticated political animal in Nigeria, if you give money or rice to people, they will collect it. They will still vote for what they want to vote for.
That is the point.
So the point I'm making is that perhaps Fauci or any other person must have given money or given rice, but Ekiti people, I tell you, seems to have made up their mind that they are going to vote out Dr. Kadifai.
That is it. It was a protest vote.
Because even Asiwaju Tinubu, I remember, and the campaign grounds in Ekiti had even counseled that whatever they bring, take it. You're right. And then vote your conscience. I might not have expected the way that he voted.
I don't want us to insult the people of Ekiti State on this area.
Yes.
Ekiti people are very intelligent.
They're much more savvy than
Yoruba people. Yeah, Yoruba people are very. Look.
Sorry, Idowu.
Yes.
Go to Osun. Go to Osun Gate, because that's what this is all about.
Okay. So that's why
the extent to which this is also can be replicated in Osun.
That's why I told my colleagues that thing will not happen in Osun. And let me also tell you, it mentioned one fact. That PDP under Jonathan is very intelligent. Yeah. PDP under Jonathan is the most stupid.
Most confused.
Confused.
Oh my God.
Under the other president Jonathan. Look, let me also tell you that in 2015, because Dr. Kadifai I display what I call a political majority now.
But when you say the most, when you say there is no intelligence as far as we are concerned within the PDP, this one that they did in Ekiti,
that's why when I told you that they didn't vote for PDP, they didn't vote for Jonathan, they voted for Fauci. And let me also tell you that Jonathan, which is a wolf performance in the office in the last. It should also be. It's supposed to prepare to congratulate if APC win the presidency in 2015.
Okay.
Yes.
There's no problem.
Darling is going to come in, but let me just bring in Kunle. Kunle wants to join this conversation from Ikeja, I believe. Good morning, Kunle.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, can you hear me very well?
We can.
Yeah, the APC governors or the APC government, wherever they are, in all the states, have taken all of us for granted for too long. In the dying days of OGD government in Ogun State, Benga Daniel, he increased school fees of tertiary institutions in Ogun State. When the present governor, Ibikunle, was campaigning, he said the first thing he would do was to reduce the school fees of higher institutions in Ogun State. Up till now, he has not. In the whole of Nigeria now, Ogun State is the state that is paying the highest in terms of school fees. The highest means about 300 plus, and the lowest means about 120,000. As I'm telling you now, people are dropping out of school in Ogun State. They are taking us for granted.
Okay, thank you very much for calling in, Kunle. I got to interrupt you so we can get as many calls as possible. Yeah. Now, that's the way Kunle sees it. Darlington, you were going to...
Yes, I was going to say something on Osun, because that should even be our primary discussion, because Ekiti is gone.
Well, there are lessons to be learned.
It's the lessons. And from what is going on, like, we have not even learned
the electoral battlefield is still smoking. Now, it hasn't cleared entirely yet.
Mr. Yori, from all indication, it's like the opposition party have not even learned any lesson. It is very obvious from what is going on. The caller just said APC states. All this idea of increasing and making things harder for the people that voted you in, was that what you told them when you were campaigning? People have gone beyond...
Wait a minute. When you say making things harder for the people, okay. How do you mean? No government comes to make things harder for the people.
Okay, fine.
We're talking about this whole governance and
hold on now. Yeah. You know that these Okada people, let us look at Ekiti now. You saw what happened in Ekiti concerning Okada riders. Fayose capitalized on that. He was riding with them. And he said he will bring them back when he comes there. And they took advantage of that. You can do such a thing in Lagos because of the nature of Lagos. Lagos is congested. But Ekiti, what is there? You should have allowed such a thing to go on. Now, hold on now. Hold on.
Was there a banning of motorcycles?
Hold on.
There wasn't a banning of...
There was restriction, imposition. There are things that we are asked to do. Hold on. Now, two. The man just mentioned something now about increasing school fees.
Yes.
The Southwest, one of the things that endeared Awolowo to the average Yoruba man today is the free education he gave, which has pulled them out of ignorance, poverty, and want. Yes. So why is it that you said you are a progressive, you are following Awolowo step, yet you are doing everything
Anti-Awolowo.
Anti-Awolowo.
Well,
is that what we are talking about? So this is
wait a minute.
Especially, hold on, let me come. You saw what happened in Lagos recently.
Yes.
And even what is happening today.
Which one? So
about
school fees in Lagos.
School fees at Lasso. Okay. Good. You saw why will you take the protest of students for the government to reduce the school fees? Why? You see what is happening today with bus riders. They gave them ultimatum today, and they are shouting even while you are coming that they will never pay, that they will prefer to go to prison. They are not paying 27,000.
Okay, I just.
Are you saying? So these are some of the issues.
I just heard that Mr. Olorun Gbebe is waiting for Mushin and has been waiting for a while. Okay. Very sorry about that. Please go ahead, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me very well?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Let me start from where my brother over here was saying something on it. I'm not saying APC government in the Southwest is the best government in Nigeria. But my brother, I want you to know that if APC is the worst government in the whole world, I think PDP government in Nigeria should be the most worst party ever in this world. And I will tell you my reason. Okay. This is, I think, 16 or 15 years of PDP government in Nigeria. My brother, can you please tell me a single progressive something we have in this country? Now, all doctors, they are now on strike. People are dying over the country.
Okay. Mr. Olorun Gbebe, I got to let go of you now, but I think you've made your point. I'm sorry, I know there's so much more you want to say, but we can't really take more than the highlights of what you need to say. And I've got to come to you, Alessa, because we're fast running out of time. And I want to get as many calls in as possible. Forgive me, Mr. Olorun Gbebe, but you got to keep it to about 30 seconds, just so I can hear your point of view as well. Okay. Yeah, this whole point about if, as you know, APC has been saying consistently, the worst thing to have befallen the nation has been this past 12 to 15 years of PDP. You've just cited, it has just been said about the strikes that are ongoing and all of that. Yet in Ekiti, the people of Ekiti still embraced this very PDP.
No, I think, Jerry, quickly, like you said, Ekiti was for Fayemi to lose, not for PDP to win. So they never looked at the party. It's just like what happened in 2000.
Okay. So taking it into why this will not happen, or
no, why it will happen in Osun is the fact that Ogbeni is not Fayemi.
It's not.
It's not Fayemi. Ogbeni is on the ground, and I think the Osun people, they have a different thinking. Osun is a bigger state than Ekiti. Ekiti is just a small state. Osun is a bigger state with wider, it's a very heterogeneous state.
So
with different.
So do you think that? Since everybody has now gone back to the war room, in fact, they've ripped up all their war plans and probably are now coming up with fresh ones. Yes. Surely, the PDP is not going to be applying the same strategy.
PDP strategy this time will just be what they did in Ekiti, and they will take it into a higher level of militarizing Osun. Okay. And intimidating voters. Militarizing Osun, intimidating voters, and actual rigging. Okay. Which was the hallmark what they did in 2003 and 2007.
Yes.
That is the real strategy PDP can employ in Osun.
Yakub,
if it's on the individual vote, forget it.
Good morning. This is Yakub from Dokomo. Let me just go straight to the point. What happened in the Ekiti State can never, I repeat, happen in our street. For one reason. The reason is this. If you want to know the kind of president Arabeshola is, just go to Egbeda, where he's in before you become a governor of that state. They will tell you this very particular man is very, very close to the people. He moves around. I saw him one day moving around street without any haste. See, somebody said that PDP governor is a good governor. It is a worst governor. We are talking about Ogun State. Tell me any single state in this country that is giving a program home starter. Look at that home starter program that Governor Edukule also gives for in that Ogun State. Bet me on you, everybody keen to that program, and then we love it. Everybody is having his own CFO today. Look at development going on. It's only that they forgot it for local government. But for this opportunity you give me, I'm calling on him to come and develop the infrastructure for local government. God Almighty will bless him.
Thank you very much. Yeah, cool. It still comes down to, in this political contest, it's getting more and more clear that those that you might think have the best qualifications for public office. It's not the way it works politically.
No, it's not.
I think that much has come clear. And perhaps in that sense, perhaps Fayemi was, I don't know.
No,
it was a mistake.
It was
a mistake because he was passionate about governance, but probably didn't know very much about politics.
And that is the mistake with as soon as Asiwaju in Lagos. That's the mistake Governor Fashola will make, accepting.
I think
just seconds left.
Yes,
but,
I think. Let me say this. I think God loves Dr. Fayemi very much. I must tell you, because it is people that God loves that you are allowed to make mistakes and go back and reflect, so that they can become a better person in the near future. Perhaps maybe if Dr. Fayemi had won the second time in office, maybe he would not have gotten time to reflect back, because I know for sure that because he has a lot of future ahead of him politically, is one of the best brains that this country has ever produced. And he will sit down now.
But he can't win elections.
No, forget about that. Like he said, if I lost the senatorial election in 2011, but he came back to win a governorship election in Ekiti. So what I'm saying,
gentlemen, I beg your pardon. This is one of those conversations that could go on. That's why we schedule it for the next 2 or 3 days.
Yes.
So we're going to stay on this particular theme, looking at what happened and the possibility of it happening in Osun and in other southwestern states. We're going to be looking at it tomorrow and perhaps day after tomorrow as well. So just please join us, and we'll be taking your own comments as well. But I've got to thank you, Lester Wilcox, Chartered Accountant and Policy Analyst.
Thank you.
I've got to thank you very much, Mr. Idowu Ajanaku, for coming on.
Thank you very much.
And Mr. Darlington Agomo, thank you. And between the two of you, it's been quite interesting to be getting opposite sides of the same viewpoint, so that you at home can synthesize and decide where indeed you lie. But the interesting thing that came out about Machiavelli and the prince and the end justifies the means. We'll look at that a bit more tomorrow and see how this is a danger in our politics. But we have to live with it.
We should not live with it. We should come above it.
I want to love the book so much.
Join us tomorrow, please, for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.
Okay.
You guys all know I just came back.
Yes.
I just came back. Everything is set. Trust me, we are in for progress, and it's going to happen in this community.
This Murphy situation, it is not ordinary.
He doesn't have anything to do again except